Good evening. It's time for the Iman Report. It is Wednesday, November the 3rd. If you like what you see, give this channel a big like and please be kind and hit that subscribe button. We are going to preview week 9 of the NFL, and we are certainly having a lot of changes this week with arrests, players testing positive for COVID. This could reflect some of my picks this week. Let's start off with the Thursday night game. This one could be more interesting than what we got now. The Indianapolis Colts against the New York Jets. Indianapolis favored by 10 and a half in this game. This is kind of a must-win game for Carson Wentz and Frank Reich. Frank Reich and Carson Wentz the Colts cannot afford to fall to 3-6. This is a must-win game for Indy. Mike White has done pretty well for the New York Jets so far. The Jets are 2-5 some way, somehow. They look like they are a team that is starting to establish a culture in New York, so I do think this is going to be a fight. At 10.5, I don't know. I am going to give Indy the win, but I don't think they are going to cover at 10.5. I just don't have that much faith. In Carson Wentz. Next one, the Houston Texans against the Miami Dolphins. Miami favored by 6.5, and there is a possibility that Jacoby Brissett could be starting for the Miami Dolphins this week, as Tua is now on the injured list. This is a toilet bowl game. This game is a toilet bowl game. Texans, probably the last week of Davis Mills until they get Tyrod back. This is a game Miami should win regardless. But at 6.5, I don't know. Problem is, Brian Flores has lost the locker room at this point. Question is, how are they going to respond if, say, it does end up being Jacoby Brissett starting this week? Miami's bad. Houston's bad. Flores is praying to lose his job at the end of the year. Coley could be one and done. Don't bet on this game. Danger, don't bet on this game. But I'll say Miami, but I'm not confident they're going to cover. This is a game, stay away from the betting on this one. These two teams are awful. Next one, the Denver Broncos against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas favored by 10. Denver, they lost Von Miller via trade. Von Miller was traded. That's certainly going to deplete the defense. The defense kind of crumbled last year without Von Miller. Denver, it finally going into rebuild. Dallas, they won with Cooper Rush. Denver is not as talented as Minnesota. Teddy Bridgewater has not been great as of late. If things get bad, do they turn to Drew Lock? This is one at 10 points. Dallas favored by 10. You know what? Given the ineptitude of Denver's offense, Dallas wins. I don't normally do this on a 10-point spread, but I do think Dallas is going to cover at 10. Might be one of the few times I'm going to pick a team to cover at a 10-point spread. Minnesota Vikings against the Baltimore Ravens. Very underrated game this week. Minnesota still got a shot at the wild card. You know what? The door might have just opened on the NFC North. Now with the Aaron Rodgers situation, he's at least going to be out for 1 week. Possibly could be out 4 more games with a suspension looming. Could this be a game that motivates Minnesota to go into Baltimore and get a win? Baltimore, though, coming off a bye. Baltimore's probably going to be motivated after losing to Cincinnati. At the end of the day, Kirk Cousins, I do think, is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. But Minnesota's defense is terrible. I am not confident in their defense. And I think Baltimore is going to be playing with a point to prove. Baltimore goes in, Baltimore covers. New England Patriots against the Carolina Panthers. New England, they're getting... What can I say? Mac Jones is looking like a great quarterback the last couple weeks. The Patriots, they're finding some chemistry. They're rattling off a couple of wins here. And granted, Carolina is likely starting P.J. Walker this week at quarterback. Carolina's going to be starting P.J. Walker at quarterback this week. So that's likely going to mean a lot more that probably Carolina's going to have to rely heavy on running the ball, which without McCaffrey, the run game has not been great. Defense has buckled a bit the last few weeks. New England's the hot team coming into Carolina. You know what? New England's going to win. And they do cover at 4 points. I do think New England's going to come get the win, and they cover. Buffalo Bills at Jacksonville. Buffalo heading to Jacksonville. Buffalo favored by 14.5 points. This Jaguars team is terrible. Josh Allen, they're going to make Urban Meyer his daddy this week. Urban Meyer is not an NFL coach. Sean McDonough is a great coach. Sean McDermott is a great coach. They could be looking at their next head coach on the other side of the sidelines and Brian Daboll. I do think Trevor Lawrence deserves better than Urban Meyer. And I do think they're going to get demoralized by the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo goes into Jacksonville, and Buffalo covers. I do think this is going to be a game where Josh Allen is going to feast. Next one, probably what I think is, I'm locking Buffalo this week. The Buffalo is my lock of the week. And what I think is the game of the week this week, the Battle of Ohio. The 4-4 Cleveland Browns going up against the 5-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams, this is the first time in a very long time the Battle of Ohio has big playoff implications in the AFC. Cincinnati coming off a humiliating loss to the Jets, so they are probably going to be motivated. Joe Burrow is a much better quarterback than Baker and Case Keenum combined. Their defense is good, but not great. Jamar Chase is out of this world. Joe Mixon is a good running back. I do think Cincinnati's going to be very motivated after losing to the Jets. Cleveland, I don't know. I actually think right now the guy who should be starting this week is Case Keenum. Granted, last week Baker didn't play terrible, but his team failed him last week. This is a game, and with Odell Beckham maybe gone from the Browns, if Cleveland's going to have success, they got to get back to what they have done best this year. Run. Get back to pounding the ball with Hunt and Chubb. This one could be a potential shootout. Both defenses haven't been that great this year. But the quarterback advantage and the home field advantage, Bengals. Bengals bounce back, get the win, cover at 2.5. Next one. We've got the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, We see if Taysom is likely going to start with, is now turning to Taysom Hill to sell for the rest of the season. Taysom did return to practice today. That is a good sign. You could see a 2-quarterback tandem this Sunday with Taysom and Trevor Siemian both getting reps for the Saints this week. Saints are favored by 6 in this one. Atlanta's defense is terrible. Matt Ryan is regressed this year. And now they're without Calvin Ridley. Even with Taysom and with Kamara should have a great day running the ball, and that's all that matters. Saints get the win. Saints cover at 6 points. The Las Vegas Raiders at the New York Giants. The Raiders cut Henry Ruggs and for all the right reasons for that fatal DUI crash. Hopefully, this is a humbling experience for Henry Ruggs. But that means it's going to be Waller time, and that means Wolford's going to probably get a lot. Waller's going to get a lot of the reps for the Raiders this week. And it's not really going to matter. This Giants team is terrible outside of Daniel Jones. The Raiders favored by 3. Raiders should go in, get the win in New York, and cover at 3. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Chargers favored by 1.5 points. Chargers have dropped the last 2 games, and Justin Herbert is having a little bit of a sophomore slump the last couple games. Good thing is, the Eagles' defense stinks. This will certainly be a good game for Justin Herbert to get right. Get Austin Eckler going. Get the Chargers' defense going a bit. I do think this is going to be a win for the Chargers. They go to Philly and they cover. The Green Bay Packers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 7.5. Aaron Rodgers out for this week, so it's going to fall on the hands of Jordan Love for possibly this week and maybe 4 weeks after that. Aaron Rodgers did test positive for COVID-19. But that might just be the tip of the iceberg on this. Aaron Rodgers could be facing at least a 4-game suspension, maybe even longer, depending on what the league decides. Honestly, with what happened with Evander Kane getting suspended 21 games, it would not hurt my feelings for Aaron. As much as I liked Aaron Rodgers, I think a season-long suspension is what I would do if I were the NFL. Suspend Aaron for the rest of the season would be my punishment for falsifying your vaccination status. You're not above the law, Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. And thus, I do think the Packers are going to struggle. This is almost throwing Jordan Love into the frying pan. Granted, Kansas City's defense is horrible, but it's now going to come down to Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is a much better quarterback than Jordan Love. Granted, Mahomes has been a turnover machine this year. But I think now this is kind of a desperation game for Kansas City if they want to get into the playoff race here. They can't afford to fall any further from the Raiders with the Raiders coming up for them next week. I think they take advantage of the matchup against Jordan Love. They go in, get a win against the Packers, and they do cover at 7.5. Next one, another good game of the week nobody's talking about. The Arizona Cardinals against the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco coming off a good win against the Chicago Bears. A game where Eli Mitchell is looking like the star running, the bell cow right now for the 49ers. Jimmy G, finally using his feet. I'm liking this. Jimmy G played with some confidence last week. Deebo Samuel looked great. Ayuk looked a bit better. The bad news is, though, the defense. The injuries just keep piling up for that defense. And that could mean a long day for the defensive unit, because Kyler could likely carve them up now with all the injuries on the defensive unit. As much as I would like to pick my boys to win this one, Arizona favored by 1 for a good reason. I do think the Cardinals come in. They do get the win over the Niners. Arizona covers. The Tennessee Titans against the Los Angeles Rams. Tennessee has been hot this year, but they are going to be without King Henry. The Titans' defense has been much better the last few games. Tennessee is playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I think they would love to, on Sunday Night Football, come into LA and send a message. Rams favored by 7.5. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. This is my upset special of the week. Titans go into LA and get the win over the LA Rams. That's my upset this week. And the Toilet Bowl game and Monday night game, the Chicago Bears against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh favored by 6.5. Steelers have played better as of late. Chicago looks like a team that is washed. You will have the rookie going up against the old man in this one. I think this could be a very long day for Justin Fields. I think the Steelers' defense is good. I do think the Steelers go in, get the win, but fail to cover. I don't think the Steelers are going to cover at 6.5, but the Steelers do get the win. That's the picks for Week 9. Everybody have a good week of football.